All right, welcome. If you're gearing up for your PCI Level 1 or 2 certification, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a super critical stage, the post-pour inspection. We're going to break down everything you need to know from Section 6.1.4 of the TM 101 manual.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We've got 5 key areas to walk through, starting with the big why and taking it all the way to the final finishes. Think of this as your go-to checklist, not just for the exam, but for when you're out there on the plant floor. Let's get right into it.
First things first, let's talk about why this is such a big deal. The post-pour inspection, it's way more than just a final look-see. It's really the gatekeeper of quality.
You know, this right here, this is the whole ball game. This is the core principle of everything we do in quality control. Every check, every test, it all leads to this one goal. In the post-pour inspection, that's the final gate. It's your absolute last chance to make sure that product meets every single requirement for safety, for quality, for compliance before it ever leaves the yard.
So to guarantee quality, you need to be able to prove it. And that proof, it all starts with a clear identity. You can't properly inspect a product if you don't know exactly what it is. And that's where your ID and tracking systems become so critical.
Now, a product mark is so much more than just a number stamped on the side. Think of it as the product's DNA. It's the thread that connects that physical piece of concrete to its entire life story. It links back to the casting date, the concrete tests, the tensioning records, the pre-pour inspection. I mean, everything. It is your single most important piece of evidence.
And hey, pay attention here, because this is something you will definitely see on the exam. Meticulous record keeping, it's not just a good idea, it's mandatory. I mean, think about it. If you find an issue, get it corrected, but don't document it? From a quality standpoint, did it even happen? The answer is no. Your records are the proof. They are everything.
Okay, so once you've got the product's ID confirmed and your paperwork is ready to go, it's time to get hands-on. This is where you bring out your eyes and your tape measure to make sure the physical product actually matches what's on the drawings.
You want to follow this process, this system, for every single piece. It keeps you from missing anything. First, you circle back to that pre-pour report. Were there any issues that needed to be fixed after the concrete was poured? Check that first. Then you do a full visual scan for anything new. And finally, you break out the tape and confirm every single dimension is within that allowable tolerance.
Now, for your exam, you're absolutely going to need to know these common defects. And remember, each one is telling you a story. A spell, that's a chip or a flake of concrete, that could be a sign of a problem during stripping. See some honeycombing? That might point to an issue with consolidation. It's not just about spotting them, it's about understanding what they mean. That's the key.
When it's all said and done, your inspection leads you to this one simple decision. After all your checks, a product falls into one of these 2 buckets. It either passes and it's good to go, or it's a nonconformance. And if it's a nonconformance, your job is to flag it, document it, and make darn sure it's corrected and re-inspected before it gets a green light. There's just no middle ground here.
All right, now for pre-stressed products, we have to go a step further. And this is a really big topic for you Level 2 candidates. There are 2 extra checks we have to do that are absolutely critical for structural integrity. That's camber and strand slippage.
You have got to know this definition cold. Camber is not a mistake. It is not a flaw. It's an engineered, totally expected result of pre-stressing. It's the visual proof that all that force from the strands has been transferred successfully into the concrete, creating that upward bow that's going to fight against future loads. Understanding what affects camber is so important, especially for Level 2. So if you go out and measure the camber and it's out of tolerance, one of these is probably the culprit, right? Was the concrete strength a little off when they detensioned? Was a strand maybe under-tensioned? Or was the center of gravity for the strand group just slightly off? Your inspection helps figure these things out. So let's be really clear about this. The entire idea of pre-tensioning hinges on one thing: the bond between the strand and the concrete. If you don't have a good bond, that compressive force doesn't get transferred properly, and that directly weakens the product's structural capacity. So checking for strand slippage is how we prove that bond is good and solid.
Okay, here is a number I want you to burn into your brain for the exam. 1/16 of an inch. Got it? That is the magic number, the threshold for action. If you measure any slippage at or above this value, it's a red flag. It gets documented and it gets reported to engineering immediately. And just as important, don't forget this, if you measure zero slippage, you write that down too. It's the only way to prove the check was actually done.
Look, your job isn't done when the product comes out of the form. Your responsibility as a QC inspector follows that piece all the way through, handling storage and getting it ready for shipment. You can have a perfect product ruined by sloppy yarding. This checklist right here is your best friend. Improper storage can completely destroy a perfectly good product. Think about it. Unstable ground or dunnage in the wrong spot can cause cracking. And look at that point about vertical alignment. If you're stacking products and that dunnage isn't lined up perfectly, you can create huge point loads that the product was never ever designed to handle. And for all our architectural products, let's be real. The final look is just as important as the strength. Your inspection has to confirm it meets the aesthetic standard that was set by that approved sample or mock-up. You're checking for consistent color, a uniform finish, and you're making sure no new damage happened during handling that's going to mess up the final look.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Imagine a product. It is dimensionally perfect. The finish is absolutely flawless. But what if the records are a mess? What if they're wrong or incomplete? Is it still a quality product? And the answer from a quality assurance perspective is a hard no. A perfect-looking product is only half the story. Without accurate, complete documentation to prove it's compliant, you simply cannot verify quality. And that's why your paperwork is every bit as important as your tape measure.